It's been an insane week for AI news. It feels like the month of January has had a year's worth of news already, and this past week has been no different. Tons of news. So I'm not going to waste your time. Let's go ahead and break it down. Now, there was one big news story this week that sort of sucked the oxygen out of the room for all of the rest of the AI companies, and I'm not going to really get too deep into it because I did do a whole breakdown video all about DeepSeek and what happened there. It's called DeepSeek, the Chinese AI that crashed the markets. So if you want to get the full scoop on what really happened with DeepSeek and why the markets crashed as a result, watch that video because I think it's a pretty good breakdown that explains everything that happened. Saying that, here's the quick TLDR. DeepSeek V3 was a new AI model that came out back in December. The thing that made that model different was that it was supposedly trained with far less and far inferior GPUs than what most AI models are trained on. So they claim they were able to train that model for $5 or $6 million, where most of the big AI models took tens of millions of dollars to train. Again, this model was released back in December, so it's like 6-7 weeks old already. However, last week, a sort of fine-tuned version of DeepSeek V3 came out called DeepSeek R1. It used reinforcement learning to sort of fine-tune it, and then it also had a chain of thought thinking where it was showing you exactly how it was thinking. When DeepSeek R1 came out, for whatever reason, that's when people started to notice and freak out and find out how inexpensively DeepSeek V3 was trained for. When people found that out, they started selling Nvidia stock like crazy, thinking, well, if you can train it that cheaply, maybe they don't need the GPUs as much as we all thought they do. And DeepSeek R1 is pretty impressive. It's on par with OpenAI's O1 model. Even Sam Altman himself gave it props, saying DeepSeek's R1 is an impressive model, particularly around what they're able to deliver for the price. He then goes on to say, we will obviously deliver much better models, and also it's legit invigorating to have a new competitor. We will pull up some releases. So essentially, Sam Altman said, we're really impressed with R1, but you ain't seen nothing yet from us. But in my mind, the fact that Nvidia's stock dropped 17% as a result seemed kind of bizarre because this DeepSeek company used Nvidia GPUs to train it. And most of the reason that all of these big tech companies are buying up GPUs aren't necessarily for the training, it's for the inference, the part that happens after you ask it the prompt. In fact, Jan LeCun here, I think, put it perfectly over on this thread post. He said, major misunderstanding about AI infrastructure investments. Much of those billions are going into infrastructure for inference, not training. Inference being, once you give it a prompt, the processing and response that prompt is giving you, that's the inference phase. Running AI assistant services for billions of people requires a lot of compute. Once you put video understanding, reasoning, large-scale memory, and other capabilities in AI systems, inference costs are going to increase. And then he went to clarify in his next post, so the market reactions to DeepSeek are woefully unjustified. Now, in that previous video that I made here about DeepSeek, I did mention that there were some rumors going around that maybe DeepSeek had trained on like OpenAI content or used a different existing model like Llama underneath, as well as talked about how a lot of people believe that they're lying about how many GPUs it took and how much it actually cost to train it. Well, since I made that video, there has been more information, more rumors circulating, so I did want to touch on those real quick. According to the Financial Times, OpenAI has found evidence that Chinese artificial intelligence startup DeepSeek used the US company's proprietary models to train its own open source competitor. So even though Sam gave them credit in that previous X post, not too long after that, OpenAI started saying, wait a second, I believe they actually trained on our proprietary models, and they didn't actually train that whole model themselves. And the irony of all of this has created some of the best memes. Kind of like how OpenAI used YouTube data. Not saying it's right, but let's not pretend OpenAI didn't violate YouTube's terms of service. People are posting screenshots like this. ChatGPT creator OpenAI sued for theft of private data in AI arms race. What did you guys use for OpenAI though? What did you guys use? Here's another one of OpenAI at Google Gemini fighting and then the little dog chasing him out with a baseball bat being DeepSeek. Or this meme that says, I can't believe ChatGPT lost its job to AI. I mean, you got to admit, there is a bit of irony to the fact that OpenAI is out there complaining that another company company used their data, even though OpenAI essentially trained on the open web. Apparently, the White House is also now looking into the effect of DeepSeek on national security. David Sachs, the AI and crypto czar for the White House, basically said that he believes there could be intellectual property theft, talking about distillation and how it's when one model learns from another model. So basically training on the outputs that were received from ChatGPT. So yes, it's looking more and more likely that DeepSeek didn't train their entire model in the traditional way for only $5 million. I guess there's some sort of new evidence coming out that's making it look more and more likely that that was the case, but that's not stopping companies from pretty much putting R1 into everything. I mean, it is a really, really good model that performs just about as good as O1, so of course all of the tools want to use it as one of their underlying models. The company that I find the most interesting that's doing it is, well, Microsoft, who we know to be OpenAI's biggest ally. Microsoft added the new DeepSeek R1 model into its Azure AI Foundry and into GitHub. So if you want to use Microsoft as your sort of back-end inference provider, well, now you can use a DeepSeek R1 API directly through Microsoft. Perplexity is another company that added in DeepSeek R1 into their search engine. If you have Perplexity Pro and you click on this little drop down next to Pro, you can actually see there's two reasoning models available to use, reasoning with R1 and reasoning with O1. Now, there is a limit to how many times you can use this per day, but if you want to use Perplexity for more like problem-solving tasks as opposed to like searching for things around the web, maybe try switching to R1 and see how it does for you. Nvidia also created a NIM, one of their microservices for DeepSeek R1. So if you want Nvidia to be your inference provider, they'll do it, and they'll do it using their Nvidia HGX H200 systems, which will get you 3,872 tokens per second, which is just wildly fast. For comparison, I was using my 5090 locally on my computer, and DeepSeek R1 was giving me about 60 tokens per second, and that felt fast. The popular coding app Windsurf, which I've personally started using more and more recently, just added DeepSeek R1 and V3 inside of their coding platform. And these reasoning models have shown to be pretty good at code. Both O1 and R1, people have been getting some really, really solid results. Heck, even Krea AI added DeepSeek into its platform, and Krea is known as an AI art platform for generating images and upscaling images and making AI videos. Well, now they just added Krea Chat, and they're using the DeepSeek model to power their chat. Although I've talked about DeepSeek for several weeks in a row now, and even going all the way back into December, more and more of this story keeps unfolding, more drama keeps coming out about it, the US government's getting involved now, and pretty much every tool that leverages AI platforms, or that is AI agnostic, is making DeepSeek available inside of their platforms as well. In what feels like a little bit of a reaction to DeepSeek, ChatGPT is adding in a think button. Now, I don't have that think button available inside of my ChatGPT account. I don't know if that's because it's still rolling it out, or if it's because I'm a pro user and I already have access to all the various O1 modes. But according to Tibor here, it appears that if you press the think button, it basically switches it to O1 for you so that you can actually see that it's doing that thinking process similar to what R1 does. You can see in his screenshot here, he's showing that he has ChatGPT 4.0 selected, gave it a prompt, it gives the response, but then under here, the regenerate button is showing O1, and you can see this is what the think button looks like. There has been a little bit of confusion around this. Some people wonder if it's using ChatGPT 4.0, but then just adding that sort of chain of thought additional thinking on top of it, or if it's actually using the O1 model, which is supposedly a different model than the 4.0 model as far as we know. And what also felt like a bit of a response to DeepSeek, Mustafa Suleyman, the CEO of Microsoft AI, announced that they made the Think Deeper feature free for all users of Copilot. The Think Deeper feature is essentially just O1, but inside of Copilot instead of ChatGPT. We can see he said this now gives everyone access to OpenAI's world-class O1 reasoning model in Copilot everywhere at no cost. So again, ChatGPT adding a think button, Microsoft adding the Think Deeper feature to Copilot, both seemingly using O1, feels a lot like them going, look, we do the same thing as R1. Everybody's talking about R1 and how excited you are. Look, we can do that same sort of chain of thought thinking thing that they do, because that one's also free and publicly available now. We also will make ours free and publicly available also. That's what it feels like to me. I'm not saying that's like their thought process, but that's what it feels like. We've also been getting quite a bit of buzz around an O3 model coming out from OpenAI this week. Back on January 23rd, Sam Altman said, big news, the free tier of ChatGPT is going to get O3 mini, and the plus tier will get tons of O3 mini usage. He then retweeted his own tweet and said, okay, we heard y'all. The plus tier will get 100 O3 mini queries per day. We'll bring operator to plus tier as soon as we can. Our next agent will launch with availability in the plus tier. And if you're wondering when O3 is going to come out, well, there's probably a good chance that it's out today, the day you're watching this video. I record these videos on Thursdays, they come out on Friday, and Ben here over on X pointed out that OpenAI O3 releases tomorrow. And I went, is that actually confirmed? Do we actually know it's coming out tomorrow? Well, I clicked on this link. It took me to this NPR interview here with Chris, who's the Chief Global Affairs Officer at OpenAI. So this is somebody from directly at OpenAI. And I'm just going to fast forward to the important bit here.
OpenAI released something called O1 back in September that has the same tech. We actually think ours continues to be ahead, and we're going to be releasing some additional models, including O3, which comes out on Friday.
So this audio came out on January 30th, which was Thursday. He said O3 comes out on Friday in this interview. I don't know if that was a slip up and he was supposed to say that or not, but the Friday that he's referring to is January 31st, the day that this video is actually going live. So there's a very good chance by the time you're watching this, O3 is either already out or going to be coming out soon. So all of us LLM nerds are going to have a new toy to play with, most likely next week. There were some other announcements out of OpenAI this week. They introduced what's called ChatGPT Gov, which is a government use only version of ChatGPT. I guess it has more security on it. They can run it locally on their own government servers and not send them to OpenAI servers, but it's essentially just a ChatGPT version with a few extra layers of security on it, from what I can tell. OpenAI this week also announced that they signed an agreement to work directly with the US national laboratories. So essentially they're basically working closer with scientists that work within the government, and they're doing this with the goal of accelerating the basic science that underpins US global technological leadership, identifying new approaches to treating and preventing disease, enhancing cybersecurity and protecting the American power grid, achieving a new era of energy leadership, improving US security through improved detection of natural and man-made threats, and deepening our understanding of the forces that govern the universe. The labs also lead a comprehensive program in nuclear security focused on reducing the risk of nuclear war and securing nuclear materials and weapons worldwide. Now, all of this talk is about preventing diseases and preventing disasters and defense and all that, but a part of me has to think they're also going to work with the government to like weaponize this stuff too, right? Like most likely, right? Okay, I'll take off my tinfoil hat now, but it's not too much of a stretch, right? As far as actual features coming out of OpenAI, they updated their Canvas tool. You can now use the Canvas tool inside of O1, and Canvas can now also render HTML and React code. I'm actually really surprised that it couldn't render HTML already. I thought it did, but I guess it does now. And it's been fully rolled out on the ChatGPT desktop app for Mac OS. If you're in the EU, you've started to finally get some of the features that the people in the US have had for a little bit now. The video and screen sharing features that are available inside of the advanced voice mode are now available in the EU, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland. The recently updated custom instructions are also now rolled out in the same areas. Do you have an idea for a video or short film, but have a hard time actually visualizing what it could look like in the end? You could storyboard out an idea, but that's super time consuming and also still pretty difficult to get a real clear picture of what the finished product could look like. That's why for today's video, I partnered with Invideo AI. It's a great tool for plugging in an idea for a video and then letting it generate the visuals, the sound effects, the dialogue, the script, all of that for you, so you can get a rough idea of what a much grander video from your concept could look like. So check this out. So I have a story concept outlined here. It's all about a hacker who discovers that AI is actually rewriting history. And instead of creating like a storyboard for this concept, I want Invideo to just make me like a rough draft version of this video so I can kind of visualize how it will all flesh out in the end. So let's go ahead and generate this video. And after several minutes, I have a video back. Here's a quick sneak peek.
Government suits with tech that could wipe your mind clean as a blank tape. I ran through neon-soaked streets, hover cars buzzing overhead like angry hornets. Every shadow held a threat, every reflection a potential trap.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and leave it right there as a little bit of a teaser. I will post the full video over on my Instagram account so you can see the entire thing. Now keep in mind, this was not designed to be a completed, finished video. This was designed to be a storyboard to map out a concept for a video that you can then use to, pitch to investors or to people that might help you produce the video, that can give people a much clearer idea of what you had in mind than just a storyboard alone would. And one thing that's really cool about Invideo is if there's any edits I want to make to this video, all I have to do is use natural language and type what I want to see changed. For example, if I want to change the voice, I could give it a prompt like change the voice to a deep, more masculine male voice. Click generate, and about a minute later, we have a different, more deep voice.
It wasn't just controlling our power, it was controlling our reality.
And if you want a more traditional way of editing, you've got other options available as well. Just click on the edit button here. We can replace any scene in the video here with uploaded media, stock media, or even generate a whole new shot. You have the option to change out the stock music or upload your own music, tweak the exact script and dialogue of the entire video, and make all sorts of other changes to the video however you see fit. Not only is Invideo great for creating entire short form videos to post on your social media accounts, it's amazing for bringing rough concepts to life. So be sure to check out Invideo AI in the link in the description below. And thank you so much to Invideo for sponsoring this video. Moving on to Google, they just updated their Gemini app. Gemini is now powered by 2.0 Flash, which is their latest model designed for the agentic era. It is a super fast model, and it has done really well on the benchmarks, and now that's what they're going to be using inside of Gemini. There's been a little bit of buzz around Grok from xAI. Rumors have been circulating that Grok 3 is coming out at any time now. In fact, some people on X actually already got access to it. They asked Grok questions and then viewed the source and saw that it was actually using Grok 3. So we know this new Grok 3 model is right around the corner at some point. DeepSeek wasn't the only Chinese AI company in the spotlight this week. Alibaba actually released a few different versions of their Qwen 2.5 this week. They released a new model called Qwen 2.5 Max. Previous Qwen models have actually been open sourced. This one is not. This one is closed. Apparently, this new model exceeded the efficiency of DeepSeek V3 and also claimed to outperform a lot of state-of-the-art models in various benchmarks like Claude 3.5 Sonnet, OpenAI GPT-4o, and Meta's Llama 3.1401B. They do have their own chatbot where you can play around with it over on Qwen Chat over at chat.qwenlm.ai. If I give it a prompt like how many R's are in the word strawberry, it doesn't actually show its thinking like the other ones, but I get the impression that it was doing something similar behind the scenes, and of course it got the answer right on this. But when we look inside of the Qwen Chat dashboard, you'll notice that down here we have some options that you don't normally see inside of other AI chatbots like image generation and video generation. This model will actually create images. I can tell it to create an image of a wolf howling at the moon, and within a few seconds I have a decent image of a wolf howling at the moon. And I'd say it's on par, if not a little bit better than what we're getting out of something like DALL-E 3 right now. I can also select video generation, tell it to create a video of a wolf howling at the moon. And well, I've been waiting for about 10 minutes now, and it's been stuck at 99% for most of that. So I don't know if the video functionality is totally working or if the servers are just kind of maxed out right now. But supposedly this will also do video for you. But under this drop down up here, there's another model here called Qwen 2.5 VL72B Instruct. And this one's a smart large vision language model that can control your PC and phone. Now, I don't know how to actually use the model yet to get it to control my PC and phone. I have to do some more playing with it, but it says they can perform a number of text and image analysis tasks, parse files, understand videos, and count objects and images, as well as control a PC, similar to OpenAI's recently launched Operator. But here's a demo that somebody shared of it actually controlling what appears to be their phone and actually searching out a flight forum on a specific date. That was from Philip Schmid here, and Vaibhav, I don't know if I pronounced that right, showed the tool on another machine here, actually taking a bunch of actions on the computer. I can't quite tell what they're trying to get it to do, but it seems to be taking a bunch of actions on the computer on their behalf. And even yet another model was released this week in Mistal Small 3. Now this one is an open source model under the Apache 2.0 license, and this one's designed to take on the much smaller models that are designed to be run on device. Models like GPT-4o Mini, Gemma 2.27B, and the Qwen 2.5B. And according to this chart here, the MMLU, which tests models on a whole bunch of different tasks and prompts, Mistal Small 3 performed almost as good as Qwen 2.532B, but did it quite a bit faster, and it outperformed and was faster than both GPT-4o Mini and the Gemma 2.27B models. This isn't going to be the smartest model in the world, but for answering pretty simple questions, this one would work just fine, and it seems to perform really well and pretty fast compared to the competition. The company Block, which was founded by Jack Dorsey, who originally was one of the founders of Twitter, recently showed off what they're calling codename Goose. This is an on-machine, open-source AI agent built to automate tasks. It's model agnostic. You can choose whatever LLM you want behind it. You can think of Goose as an assistant that is ready to take your instructions and do the work for you. It seems like this first version of it is really designed to help coders do things like conduct code migrations, dive into projects in unfamiliar coding languages, conduct performance benchmarks, increase code coverage, removing or adding feature flags, generating unit tests for a feature, and things like that. And I'll link up to this page below, but it does have a quick start guide. So if you want to download this and run it on your own computer, it is available to use. Not something I played with myself personally yet. And since we're talking about agents and AI sort of going and doing tasks on your behalf, Google's starting to test a new feature that will actually make phone calls for you. They say there's a new experiment that just launched in Search Labs. You can use AI to call businesses on your behalf to find out what they charge for a service and when it's available. Like if you need an oil change ASAP from a nearby mechanic. It looks like when you do a search on Google, it'll give you this like ask for me button and then ask what service you need. You click a button. You basically go through a little survey and answer questions that the person on the other line might ask you. And then it will actually make the call on your behalf and then answer the questions for you. Now, I'm not sure how to actually access this yet. It says just opt in and search something like oil change near me to try it out, but I'm not actually sure where you opt in for it yet. I did the oil change near me search and I didn't see the option. The US Copyright Office this week put out a document explaining which images can be copyright and which ones can't be copyright if they were generated with AI. And this is another topic that I actually made a breakdown video of. You can find it by looking up the video, here's what you can and can't copyright with AI. But the super quick version of it is if you just prompt an image and then try to get it copyrighted, they're going to say no. If you use AI as part of a bigger process, like let's say you're making a film and like one of the background scenes was generated with AI, that scene itself can't be copyrighted, but the movie that you generated that used that scene can be. And then there's some like gray areas because they said everything will be determined on a case-by-case basis. And then they showed an example from Chris Castanova. She hand drew some stuff and then used AI to fill in the rest of the image. And they basically said the parts that you hand drew are copywritten, but the stuff that AI did for you is not. And so still felt very fuzzy to me. But basically at the end of the day, the theme of the paper was if you're using AI as like an assistive tool to help you make a bigger creation, then you can copyright the creation. If you're just trying to prompt something and then claim copyright on the thing that you prompted, you can't claim copyright on that, with some fuzzy gray area in between. There is one last bit of information about DeepSeek that came out this week in that they dropped their own AI image generation model called DeepSeek Janus-Pro-7B. The model can generate images and it apparently beats OpenAI's DALL-E 3 and Stable Diffusion across various benchmarks. I actually haven't played with this one yet. Every time I've tried to load it on Hugging Face and use it, it's either been too bogged down or just never loaded for me. So I actually haven't seen the images that have come out of this yet. But let's talk about AI video for a moment. Pika Labs just released a new AI video model called Pika 2.1. In last Friday's news video, we talked about how they were teasing it was coming soon, and well, they released it this week. It creates in 1080p resolution. They claim to have razor sharp details, seamless motion, and lifelike human characters. And some of these demo videos are pretty dang impressive. They look like some of the most realistic human video that we've seen. And I mean, these wildlife videos, it looks to be one of the better models, probably on par with what we're seeing out of VO2 from this trailer. These are obviously fairly cherry-picked videos if they're putting them in a trailer like this. But that wasn't all Pika released this week. They also released their new turbo mode, which makes these videos generate way faster. They say it generates the videos 3 times faster using 7 times fewer credits without compromising quality. So if I jump into my Pika account here, down on the bottom where the little rabbit image is, you can see we've got options for Pika 2.1. That's what's actually selected by default, and Pika Turbo. So the Pika 2.1 is probably going to give us better video quality, while Pika Turbo is going to be a lot faster. So let's try Pika 2.1 using a monkey on roller skates. And then let's use Pika Turbo, also doing a monkey on roller skates, just so we can see them side by side. The Pika Turbo generated pretty dang quickly. It finished before the Pika 2.1. And well, here's our monkey on roller skates. The monkey on roller skates actually doesn't look too bad, although an extra roller skate appears in the video and the background kids look a little funky. But if we check out the Pika 2.1 here, it does look quite a bit better, especially in the background. The kids in the background look quite a bit better. The roller skates kind of get a little fuzzy down here, and I find this monkey to be sort of like overall kind of blurry, but not bad considering where we were months ago. The company Krea AI introduced character consistency in videos this week. So you can make videos where the character looks like the same person throughout. You basically upload an image of a character. It could probably be your own face or something you generate with AI, and then you can make videos where it uses that same character with every single video. If I jump into Krea AI here and click on generate video, it looks like we need to select the Hailuo option here because this one has the character option in it. If we select that, we get our character option. I'll upload my face here and do the prompt, a man dancing, see what it does. And here's what it created for me. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It looks just like me if maybe I put on an extra 100 pounds. But yeah, you can make consistent characters by uploading a face. Pretty much any prompt I give it is going to have my same face on the video. Luma AI this week announced that they now have the ability to upscale to 4K with any of your videos that you make in Dream Machine. You natively generate in 720p or 1080p, but then you can now actually upscale them all the way up to 4K, which is pretty crazy. David Comfort here also pointed out that Hailuo AI has a new model called T2V-01-Director. So I went and looked that up and saw that, sure enough, somehow I missed it this week, but Hailuo dropped a new AI video model as well, which allows you to direct the videos with natural language, things like zoom out shot or truck left tracking shot or pan right or subtle shake then tilt up. So using natural language, you can actually control what the camera is doing in the scene. Like this one has camera shake, this one has a dolly zoom. Really, really cool stuff. Haven't had a chance to play with this one yet, but I am planning on making some more videos in the near future all about all the various AI video tools that are available. We got some updates in the world of AI music this week. The company Riffusion introduced FUZZ, which is very similar to what you get out of something like Suno or Udio, but they're making this completely free to use right now. They say, as long as their GPUs survive. But I've actually played with this a little bit. I did have early access to this one, and it's pretty impressive. I'd say it's on par with everything else that's out there, if not a little bit better. Like, here's a pop punk song that I had it generate.
Kickflips always fail, every trick derailed. Download this app last night, promised I'd nail it right. Whoa.
And here's another one.
I see you at the park each day, blowing up your neural net, teaching bots your latest moves while they're breaking up the set.
And so, yeah, I found it to be really decent music, especially since you can generate it for free right now. But that wasn't the only news we got out of AI music this week. There is a new open source model that generates music like Suno and Riffusion and some of those other tools. I haven't actually downloaded this one or really tried it myself yet. It's called You, I think.
You're not the only one on our brain. I know the only one. I know you got another love.
I mean, I don't think it's quite as impressive as the other models that are available out there, but this one is open source. So people will build off of it and iterate off of it and make it better, and really, really cool to see these types of tools available in open source versions. All right. A few last small little things that I want to touch on real quick. Just going to spend a couple seconds on each one here. Apparently, the new iOS update turns on Apple AI by default. I guess a lot of people didn't like that. So if you actually don't want to use Apple Intelligence, you have to go turn it off yourself inside of the iPhone now. Elon Musk this week claimed that you're going to be able to start doing Tesla autonomous ride shares as soon as June. Elon does have a tendency to sort of overpromise, underdeliver, especially on time frames. So we'll see if that actually happens. However, some other news out of Tesla, the Teslas now actually are able to drive themselves from where they are built to their designated loading dock without human intervention, which seems pretty cool. There's a video they posted at 3x speed of one of the Teslas coming out of the factory and going to its dock, just to prove that Tesla's self-driving is getting better and better. And this year, we could expect to see the Teslas being driven around in full self-driving all the time. Waymo, who has cars on the street that are already driving themselves around and taxiing people, are now getting added to 10 new cities, and the next two are Las Vegas and my hometown, San Diego. So excited to finally ride in one of these. Reid Hoffman, one of the co-founders of LinkedIn, launched a company this week called Monos AI. They're working with Microsoft, and the company is designed to help discover new drugs. Probably one of the most exciting areas of AI that's going to likely be the most world-changing over the next couple of years is the ability for AI to discover new drugs and cure diseases and things like that. So super exciting to see that. And that's what I got for you today. It was a really busy week. I know DeepSeek sucked a lot of the oxygen out of the air. OpenAI was releasing a whole bunch of announcements. I feel like trying to gain some traction and get people talking about them. And a lot of companies reacted to DeepSeek by either adding thinking features to their existing tools or building DeepSeek into their software. But that was obviously a tiny sliver of the whole picture of this week. And I feel like 2025 is only going to keep ramping up. I mean, just January feels like we already got as much news this month as we got in almost the entirety of last year. It feels like the pace is picking up like that. And if you want to make sure you stay looped in on all the latest AI news, that's what I'm here for. I'm trying to keep up with it as best as I can. So make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel to make sure stuff like this keeps on showing up in your YouTube feed. Also, be sure to check out futuretools.io. This is where I curate all the cool AI tools I come across. I also keep the AI news page up to date. So much of the AI news actually releases on X, as you've probably realized from watching my videos. And I know a lot of people try to avoid X as much as possible. So this news page is a great place to just find the news that's available on X. Whenever I find the cool tweets or the news articles, I share them here. And of course, we've got the free newsletter where twice a week, I will send you an email with just the coolest tools I came across and the most important AI news that I think you should know. It's totally free, and if you sign up today, you'll get free access to the AI income database, a database I've been working on that shares all sorts of ways to make extra income using these various AI tools. Again, totally free. You can find it all over at futuretools.io. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and nerding out with me today. It's been a really fun, if not really insanely busy week, but I can't get enough of this stuff. I love talking about it and I love sharing it with you, and I love testing the toys and playing with them and showing off what they can do. So hopefully you'll stick around for future videos and hang out and nerd out with me in those ones. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks to Invideo for sponsoring this one. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.